Good day, everyone. My name is Shir Dasmariñas, and this is Group Two's report in English for academic and professional purposes. Our subtopic is the critical approaches in writing a review in feminism or feminist theory. What is feminism or feminist theory? Feminist theory is a major branch within sociology that shifts its assumptions, analytic lens, and topical focus away from the male viewpoint and experience towards that of women. In doing so, feminist theory shines a light on social problems, trends, and issues that are otherwise overlooked and misidentified by the historically dominant male perspective within the social theory. Meaning, feminist theory only focuses on the women's perspective by showing how women are often treated unfairly in society, literature, and history. It highlights women's voices, experiences, and struggles that are usually ignored, and it calls for fairness and equality. For instance, it questions why women are sometimes shown as weak in stories, or why they are paid less than men for the same work or for the same job they've applied to. Sometimes women are not accepted to jobs that they could also do the same job as men. Feminist theory helps us see the world through women's eyes, reminds us that they deserve the same respect and opportunities as men. What are the key areas or focus within feminist theory? This includes discrimination and exclusion on the basis of sex and gender, objectification, structural economic inequality, power and oppression, gender roles, and stereotypes. This topic will be discussed by my groupmates.
So what is gender differences? In feminism, gender differences refer to the societal distinction between men and women that are learned and culturally imposed rather than being inherent biological traits. So ang gender differences kay mga kalayaan sa mga papel, mga karapatan, o responsibilidad sa lalaki o babae sa tanang lugar. In short, mga kalayaan sa babae o lalaki. So, kani kadili lang ni biological kundi na implementyahan po sa pudni sa kultura, tradisyon o social expectations. Ang example ani is sa una og hantod karon sa ubang nga lugar sa Pilipinas, giingon nga ang lalaki mao ang provider, tig-trabaho ug tigpadala og kwarta. Para babae kay mao lang ang mag-atiman sa balay ug mga bata. Pero tungod sa feminism, gi-question ni nga set up og giingon nga pwede pud ang babae maghimo og professional leader o breadwinner. So makita na nato nga parehas na silang duha nga makatrabaho o makasuporta sa pamilya. So, let's proceed sa type of gender differences. First is ang biological differences, are the natural and inherent distinctions between living things, most commonly referring to the physiological and anatomical variations between males and females. Ang biological differences kay kalainan sa lawas o reproductive system sa lalaki o babae. Example kay ang babae makabulos o bata, but ang lalaki kay dili. Muna siya example sa biological differences. So next is ang social or cultural differences, are variations in the basic values, beliefs, norms, and lifestyle among people from different culture or groups, which affect how they interact, perceive the world, and behave. So, ang social or cultural differences kay mga rules o expectation ang gihatag sa tanan. So, ang example yan kay sa lalaki, gituuhan nga dapat breadwinner o tig-provide o tig-badala o kwarta. Then, dapat pili siya magkapoy-kapoy. Then, sa babae po, kay gituuhan nga angay ra sa balay magluto o mag-atiman sa pamilya. Mga siya example sa social or cultural differences.
Gender inequality from a feminist perspective refers to the systemic disparities and power imbalances between men and women that rise from socially constructed gender rules, stereotypes, and biases. Feminism seeks to understand and challenge these inequalities to achieve gender equality, where all genders have equal rights, opportunities, and treatments. Like example, in many workplaces, men and women may do the same job but receive different salaries. Jill and Jan are both accountants in the same company. They have the same education and experience, but Jill earns 25,000 while Jan earns 35,000. This shows gender inequality because Maria is not given equal pay for the same work. So, what exactly is gender inequality? Gender inequality refers to unfair differences in opportunities, rights, or treatment based on gender.
What is gender oppression and feminism? Gender oppression happens when people, mostly women, are treated unfairly because of their gender. Feminism Feminism explains that this unfairness is built into society in laws, culture and everyday life. For example, women often get paid less than men for the same work. This is called the gender wage gap. Also, women are sometimes left out of important decisions at home or work, which limits their power. In some places, girls aren't allowed to go to school or have a career. Feminisms fight for equal education and job opportunities for all. Another serious problem is a victim blaming. When women who face harassment or abuse are blamed instead of the offenders, feminism stands up for justice and safety. Finally, many still believe women should only do housework and take care of children. Feminism says women should be free to choose their own path. In short, feminism is about it's a feminism is about fairness, giving everyone equal rights, respect, and freedom no matter their gender. Okay, let's proceed. What is a gender oppression? Gender oppression is when people are treated unfairly just because of their gender. It often affects women, LGBTQ individuals, and also men who don't follow traditional gender roles. It can happen in many ways. At school, at work, in the family, or in society. It can be direct, like violence or discrimination, or silent, like stereotypes and expectations. Examples: workplace discrimination. A woman doing the same job as a man but getting paid less, that's gender oppression. Gender stereotypes. People expect girls to be soft and emotional and boys to be strong and never cry. These ideas limit people. That's gender oppression. And violence and harassment. Same women or LGBTQ people face violence just for being who they are. That's also gender oppression. Uh, for the last, education access. In some countries, girls are not allowed to go to school or finish their studies. This is a clear example of gender oppression.
And lastly, we have structural oppression. Structural oppression theories posit the women's oppression and equality are a result of capitalism, patriarchy, and racism. Capitalism meaning the money systems in that specific place. And patriarchy is when men are having more power than any gender or women. Lastly, racism. This is the discrimination against a specific race. Socialist feminists agree with Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, extend this exploitation not just to class but also to gender. Marx and Engels said workers are being used unfairly by the rich. Feminists added that it's not just about rich versus poor, but also about men versus women. Intersectionality theories explain oppression and inequality across variables like class, gender, race, ethnicity, and age. Intersectionality means women don't all face the same struggles. For example, a rich woman and a poor woman experience oppression differently. Things like race, money, and age can make oppression worse. Same forces that oppress women also oppress people of color and marginalized groups. The same unfair systems that hurt women also hurt other groups, like people of color, the poor, or minorities. One way structural oppression of women, specifically the economic kind, manifests in society is in the gender wage gap, which shows that men routinely earn more for the same work than women. A clear example of oppression is the pay gap or the wage gap. Men are usually paid more than women even they do the same job. This is a problem in the 20th century or even the past centuries. I don't know if this still exists in the 21st century, which is our century now, but I hope it does not. An intersectional view, women of color and men of color too are penalized compared to white men. If you're a woman and from a minority race, you face double unfairness. Even men of color can be underpaid compared to white men. So, for example, you're a black woman and you will face double unfairness because you're a woman and you have a race. Same goes to men in color, but they can be a bit superior to black women or colored women compared to men of color. But the most superior of them all are the white men, since they are not in colored. And another thing is, in the past or in the history, in 20th century or in the previous centuries, men are much more stronger than women. They have more power. They have the money. They lead the people, which women can also do in this generation or even before. They could do it, but they just don't have the power to what do you call this one, to overpass the men, because they have more power than women. In the late 20th century, globalization of capitalism, exploitation of women workers. Later, feminist theory expanded to say that around the world, women. In the late 20th century, globalization of capitalism, exploitation of women workers. Later, feminist theory expanded to say that around the world, women workers are often treated unfairly. Factories, companies, and globalization make use of women's labor, but give them a very low pay, meaning it is very, very, very unfair for women. Even in the past centuries, they are treated unfairly. But now in the 20 we're in the 21st century, I hope that changes everything. There are some there are still some cases in our century that needed to be improved in feminist in a feminism perspective. But that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.